Philippe, then, how's the squad looking ahead of the game tomorrow?
Okay, so we lost one player with Oscar in the training this week. So in the tackle he got a bad knock and he will be out for several weeks. So that's a disappointing thing because he was growing back to his best level and showing the player that he was or that he is and that he will be in the future. The rest of the squad stays the same as last weekend.
Just on Oscar, how frustrating is that? Because he's not been able, and is there a concern there? Is there something behind these injuries or just bad
No,
luck?
it's duels. It's football. It's part of football, and you have lucky moments and you have unlucky moments. This was an unlucky one, also not a crazy tackle, but you have duels in football, and then things can happen. And he's been really unlucky these last couple of months with those things. I hope all the bad luck for him stops now after this, and the rest of your career will be the luck side, but it's part of football.
How do you look ahead to the prospect of facing Malmo, and how do you see them as an opponent?
No, it's a very interesting game. So I saw the stats also from Rangers the last couple of years against Malmo, so that's not really good. So we have a fight with history in that way. It's interesting to do that. The team is very motivated to show a good face tomorrow and to grow again, like they've been growing the last couple of weeks to make the next step. We need to find some solutions, of course, because of the suspension of Jefte, and also because Rit van Yilmaz is not available yet, so that will change some things that we didn't have much time to train on, but that we did the last couple of days. And it's about going full in this game against a good opponent, very good opponent who play good offensive football, who are top of the league, who have a lot of experience in Europe with a lot of players. So everybody's excited to play this game.
Philippe, you said there that it's like a fight with history because of Rangers' record against Malmo.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you speak about? Because when we're looking at the game from 3 years ago, obviously you weren't here. I think it's only the captain that was playing that night. So is that something you talk about with your team?
No. It's more for you guys because you guys like these things.
Yeah.
So I want to give you also something, but probably you know already.
Yeah.
No, because in the end, I don't believe in that. Also, it's something new now. Mm-hmm. So it's not the same players, it's not the same manager, it's not the same opponent. It's a new game. It's a new game of football, and of course we analyzed Malmö really well. That's also interesting thing now. As a staff with this new formula in the Europa League or in the Champions League, the same. So before you had the group stage with 4 teams, so you have 3 opponents. So you analyze them 3 times, and then you have your game that you can analyze to show the players for the next game. Now it will be 8 times analyzing a totally different team. So it's a lot of more work to do, but it's also more challenges, and I think it's interesting for everyone.
Just in terms of the new format, do you feel that you're confident you're in a position where you can improve on last year's showing in the Europa League? I know you're not going to give us a target for the overall competition, but how do you feel
better as last year?
Yeah.
I think we were really close against Benfica,
Mm-hmm.
and we did a really good Europa League season last year with the qualities we had as a group. And if you compare the qualities that Benfica had, we were really close. We finished first in our group in Europa League, so you cannot do better than that. So it will be a challenge to do better, but we are ambitious. We always want to do better than we did before. Every month we want to do better, and that's the exciting thing about the project now. We have a new squad. We have a lot of new young guys coming in, having the first taste for some in European football, or some like Connor, who's also still young. He had already a taste last season, but he felt also our difficulties to combine it with domestic football and then winning the points every 3 days. So that was a problem last season in the team there. So it's challenging for them, and it's interesting for us to see how fast they adapt to that every 3 day performance, every 3 day to be on the top of your toes and to play big games. And this is now the start of that period to come.
Philippe, there was an interview this week with John Gilligan. He spoke about the financial state of the club, and he's optimistic that there'll be funds for you to spend in January. Just how
I was
encouraging,
happy to hear that.
just how encouraging was that for you after the
No,
summer?
it's important and it's necessary, and it was not easy in the summer. We talked about that. Maybe the people in the club will talk about that later on, the next couple of months also, about that situation. So of course, as a manager, you hope to get more funds in to do the right thing for the club. But with the resources that there were there, I think everybody starts to see that a lot of good things have been made, and it's now interesting to work with that and to focus on that, and then of course to plan towards January what we are doing already, and to plan towards next summer. We're also busy with that, but that's our job, and with recruitment to do. It's important to have also money to do the right things for the club, of course.
John also spoke about wanting to take away some of the responsibility you've had to be a sort of spokesman for the club, a leading figure for the club in terms of explaining what's going on behind the scenes. With him now on board and taking on some of that onus, does that feel like it's a bit like a load off your shoulders in a sense?
I don't really need that, but of course, as a manager, you want to talk about football and about the things you are doing, and we had too many talks last couple of months about extra sportive things where I didn't have any single influence in or any single talk in. So I hope we can stop this spirit also, and nobody needs to talk about those things anymore in the future, and that we can focus on football, because that stays the most important for the club.
Yes, you were the coach of Isak
Yes,
back in 2017.
indeed, yes.
Yeah, what do you remember from him, and how was he back then?
I took him on loan after the club sold my striker after the three first games of the season. Isak came from Anderlecht on loan, and he did a really good job. I liked him really much as a player, but also as a person. He's a great person. He's a great team player. He works really hard. He scored a lot of goals with me also, so it was really important that season to get really good results and to grow with that team above the level that they had before.
What do you say to your players about him ahead of tomorrow's game?
I know him well, so I know his strong points. I will talk about that. We've done already, like we do with every player. There's no difference in that. In these days, you can see so many games. You can go so deep in analyze because you have also a team of analysts in your club. So in that way, it's not a big difference with knowing a player from before or seeing him on a video. So that's not a big difference.
But you talk about weaknesses also, I think, not only strong.
Of course, but every player has his strong points and his weaknesses. Otherwise, they would not play in Malmo or in Rangers, but in much bigger teams.
We can get the mic to Cal. We'll make this the last question.
Yeah, Philippe, just with regards to the new format for the Europa League, do you feel as though that makes it harder to reach the knockout stages, or is that still a realistic prospect for Rangers? Because it has been something the club has achieved consistently over the past few years.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think with the draw we didn't get any presents. That's really clear if you compare with other groups. So we have a really, really tough group to qualify out of. So that's a little bit the strange thing also about that. You have teams in your group who play against other teams than you are playing against. So in that way, it's a little bit a weird situation. But we're gonna just focus on ourselves, game by game, going full to take the 3 points, and then see what this format brings.
I know this is something you probably won't want to speak too much about, but there have been some reports in Belgium over the past couple of days speaking about you and with the possibility of the
If
Anderlecht.
you ask me this, I want to speak about that, yes.
You
It's
want
very
to,
really clear. I engaged myself long term for Rangers last month. Whoever comes, whatever team comes, I'm not going to go away. So really clear. I want this project with the club. to make it really successful for the future. And we all know we need time for that. We need a few transfer windows for that. We need a lot of work to do for that. And that's what I want to do. Because I love the city, I love the club. I love the dynamic at Ibrox with the fans. So I'm here to stay. Very clear.
Thank you everyone.